All right, happy Wednesday, everyone. This is Dr. Whitney, Dr. Mom ND, joining you for Wellness Wednesday. And last week I didn't know what I was going to talk about this week, but as my comment says, it seems like the universe always has a way of helping me figure that out. And in the last couple weeks, I have spent, I don't even know, countless hours explaining the food intolerance to people, explaining that yes, I am a real doctor, yes, I know how to read your labs, and I think that just is the universe's way of telling me, hey, guess what? It's time to revisit this topic again. As my brother has said, you always have a new audience. Just because you talked about something once doesn't mean you don't need to talk about it ever again, even though I tell people the videos are out there. Both of these topics are covered in my 30 Days to Reducing Inflammation video series that is free. You can sign up for. It's right on my website, www. Is there 3 W's or 2? 3 W's, hhhandwellness.net or .com. Either one should work. Just go to the webpage. It should pop up. You sign up for it. You get 10 free videos, one every 3 days. All different topics. Fish oil, probiotics, inflammation, green makeup, personal care, food intolerance. So from that, I led into these videos. I kind of did a recap. So if you go back in the Wellness Wednesday videos, which are all available in my video library, I've also covered this topic a few times. But as we were told in Naturopathic Medical School, which is a real school accredited by the U.S. Department of Education, which we are granted loans to attend. That's a big thing. If you're not getting public student loans, it's probably not a legit school, just saying. You need to hear something like 8 times before you actually remember it. So this is me for the, 1, 2, 3, 4, at least the 5th or 6th time, talking about food intolerance and why the Carroll method is unique to naturopathic doctors, why there's nothing else like it, why it is the foundational thing that we do, that I do, that any vitalistic type naturopathic practitioner, there is a sort of growing group of that is how they're coining themselves, because they're more of a traditional philosophical naturopathic type approach. What we do. That's how we approach our patients, because we know that we want to treat the root cause, the underlying issue. We know that naturopathic medicine, and a lot of quotes that I share from Hippocrates, of all people, if you don't know who that is, it's like ancient Greek, thousands of years ago. He knew then that disease started in the gut, and naturopathic medicine built off of that. So when you talk about treating symptoms versus treating the root cause, you're basically describing conventional medicine versus naturopathic medicine, okay? And the reason this is fresh off the top of my head is because I'm actually working on a presentation. So again, I've had multiple people in the community ask me in the last few weeks to talk about these topics. So I'm doing I'm not sure what we're actually titling it, but I think it's called Dietary Approaches to Inflammation, the Carroll Method versus Conventional Testing. I'm doing that at the Wanakee Senior Center on Wednesday night, March 11th, I believe, at 7 p.m. So if you're local and you want to come in for that, I'm going to have a much longer presentation talking about different dietary approaches and testing and how this method is unique. And again, what the overarching goal of it is to address the underlying issue. So we know that inflammation is prevalent in our society. We know it comes from lots of sources, from the chemicals that we're breathing in, the chemicals that we put on our skin, but namely, the biggest source is the thing we do every day to fuel our body. It's the food we put in our mouth, okay? So if you're eating foods that are incompatible with your body, ultimately this means you are junking up the pipes. You're slowing down the system, because now the liver, the digestive system, all the organs of elimination, they have to take the time to break these things down, or at least attempt to, and try to get them out, okay? So whenever you do this, and you do enough of this for a long enough period of time, your body is going to have a backlog of crap in your body, okay? It's as simple as that. And that crap is going to disrupt the function of any organ or any system that it feels like, okay? And everybody's body is different. So in one woman, I might see thyroid problems. In another woman, I might see infertility. In a man, we might see hair loss. In another individual, it might be eczema. In kids, it can be behavioral problems or eczema, digestive issues, obviously. It's sort of like the domino effect, people. It can start in your gut and then it can spread anywhere else in your body, okay? Now, when you're doing these other tests, which are not intolerance tests, they are looking at immune system provocation, okay? Again, it's as simple as that. A true intolerance test is something you are intolerant to. You were born that way. It's never going to go away. You don't need digestive enzymes. If you did, that's a digestive enzyme deficiency, not a food intolerance, okay? Difference, right? You can't fix an intolerance. It's the way you are. It's the physiology of your body. It's the way you were made. It'll never change, okay? Allergies and sensitivities come and go, okay? So when you eat foods that are not compatible with your body, they cause a chronic state of inflammation. Essentially, we say toxic metabolites, all right? That's the fancy way to say it. The way everybody understands it is inflammation is bad, okay? Yes, chronic inflammation is bad, all right? Acute inflammation, like what you get when you slam your finger in the door, that's good. Your body has a response system for inflammation to help with an injury, to help your body manage it and heal from it, okay? It signals all the right little guys to come into the area and start the healing process. But chronic inflammation, over time, again and again and again, is bad, and it will damage your digestive system, which leads to the ever popular leaky gut. Things get out where they're not supposed to be. When that happens, your immune system says, hey, now wait a minute, those things aren't where they're supposed to be, and it is provoked to have a response. Now, that's usually one of two things, IgE or IgG, okay? Those are little receptors in your blood that are the immune warriors, okay? So IgE are typically the allergies, which I'm still not going to say you're born with, okay? Because you have to be sensitized to it some way, shape, or form. And that's a whole nother argument or story to get into. But there are 4 types of hypersensitivity. Number 1 is type 1 hypersensitivity. That's almost always IgE. That is the one that requires something like an EpiPen to address, okay? Anaphylactic shock, you could die. Very, very dangerous, right? Hypersensitivity reactions 2, 3, and 4 are much less severe. 2 and 3 are generally mediated by IgG cells, okay? What we mean by much less severe or delayed is that they could take anywhere from 24 to 72 hours to show any kind of symptomatic response, okay? So that's why when people do elimination diets, generally, or reintroduction, you do one thing every 2 to 3 days, because that's the amount of time it takes to see if your body's going to react. Now, just because you identified something like that, whether through an elimination diet or through this immune system testing, and that could be popular things like ALCAT, any of these biofeedback mechanisms, a lot of them I think are using this immune system provocation type deal because the results that I'm seeing from patients are still so varied, it's absolutely ridiculous. There's no way anybody is actually allergic to or sensitive to the broad number of things they're getting, and even how that is supposed to translate into something feasible for health and healing and something practical that you can do every day in your life to manage it. Let alone they never actually tell you how to fix the problem, right? So it's just like, here's all your issues, good luck. It doesn't mean avoiding things forever. You just avoid those things and you're just going to get sensitized to new things. And the system just, or the cycle just keeps repeating itself, okay? So allergy and sensitivity testing is not the same as intolerance. They use the words interchangeably. I know it's not your fault. They're very, very confusing with their marketing. It's very frustrating for me. So the Carroll method of food intolerance, and we'll just say identification for purposes of being legally compliant with Wisconsin not being licensed as NDs. It is a dietary method that naturopathic doctors developed. A naturopathic doctor developed, Dr. Carroll, and it has been passed down exclusively to other licensed naturopathic doctors, okay? So only a licensed naturopathic doctor working with or trained by the Carroll Institute has access to or the ability to perform this evaluation for you. This is why I do it with all my patients, right? I worked with them for 4 years until I could go out to do the training myself. Now I have the equipment and I can do the evaluations myself in the office. Licensed naturopathic doctors. Okay, let's back up, just clarify it right there. I have a bachelor's degree in biology. I then went on to a 4-year accredited medical school that focused on naturopathic medicine or naturopathic medicinal approaches to care, okay? I didn't take naturopathic anatomy. I didn't take naturopathic microbiology. I took the same anatomy and biology, microbiology, embryology. I don't even know all the ologies. There's too many of them, okay? It's double the credit load of what a bachelor's degree is in the same amount of time, okay? 256 or some credits in 4 years, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., every day, all day, dissecting real human cadavers in anatomy, 8 credit labs, evaluation and management courses, primary care courses. We are trained in and out as primary care doctors. And I am just disgusted because I continually take my children to a licensed medical doctor to get their well child checks every year, and the doctor spends less than 5 minutes with them. He listens to one part of their heart, not 4, like we're taught. He listens with one side of the bell, not both. They listen to one part of their lungs, not the front and back in 6 different locations. Again, not with both sides. They never palpate. They never look at their organs. They never do range of motion. They never do any kind of testing that we are taught is a full physical exam, okay? If I had to rush to do a 75-point physical exam to get that in 45 minutes to pass my physical exam class, and a doctor is seeing my kid for 3 minutes, it's pretty much a waste of time in my book. So I get really frustrated now when people start talking about, are you a real doctor? Did you take real doctor classes? Yeah, I did. I took several classes in pharmacology along with 4 years of botanical medicine. So I know all the interactions between botanical medicine and drugs. And if I don't know them off the top of my head, I know where to find them. My grandma recently had a health scare and I gave her some very inert substances because I knew they were inert. And this gal who's fresh out of medical school basically told her to stop taking them all because she didn't know if they were going to react with the medications. And wouldn't you know it, by the time my grandma's follow-up rolled around, the girl wasn't there. She was sick. She was gone. Whatever. Someone else saw her. They started all over again. They gave her the wrong medication. Her calcium was too high. They took her off the calcium. You know what? You just get jerked around. It's just so frustrating. Nobody is addressing the full picture of health. Nobody's taking the time, and that's what a naturopathic doctor does. That's why we spend an hour to 2 hours with every patient talking to you, learning everything about you so we can address your whole health, your underlying causes, which all come down to inflammation. I promise it is so simple. I know everyone wants to have a unique problem, and that's just what we're taught. We want to be special, but our problems aren't unique. They all come from the same crap, literally crap in our food, crap in our personal care, crap in our home cleaning products. And your body can only handle so much of that load before it starts to fall apart. And you just need someone to help you make the educated choices of where to identify these things to, get yourself back on track. So yes, I start out every patient with a food intolerance evaluation. It is a waste of time for me to recommend a bag of supplements because it's not going to fix your problem. If you want to fix your problem, you have to take the time to sit down and address the cause, okay? Number 1 being inflammation. I don't mind this. This is what I do. This is what I love, educating people. That's why I'm doing a talk at the senior center. I'm going to do some talks at a physical therapy center coming up. It's all about education because you don't know until you know, okay? So yes, there are naturopaths out there who took a few online classes. Look, I have no control over that, okay? Wisconsin's an unlicensed state. They can still call themselves a naturopathic doctor. We're working on it. We've got legislative bills pending. We're hoping to get them passed soon so that will help people out. But overall, a naturopathic doctor, a licensed naturopathic doctor, is trained as a primary care physician. I can look in your kid's ear. I can look in their throat. I can do a rapid strep test. We can do all these things and maybe save you a little bit of time, money, and peace of mind if you've got a really high deductible instead of going to a conventional doctor's office where they're just going to shove more antibiotics down your throat or your kid's throat. So it is important when you're going to work with a naturopathic doctor to ask about their credentials, ask about their education, find out where they went. There's only 7, I believe, accredited schools in North America. So between the US and Canada, There's only 7. You can't have gone to an online school and be a naturopathic doctor, okay? Doctorate used to be the highest level of education. I don't know how you go from having no degree to taking some online classes and they get away with calling that a doctorate degree. But in some states, apparently they do, okay? So in middle school, I was really confused. We got a new principal and her name was Dr. Babler. I didn't understand. I thought, why do we have a doctor as a principal? It's because she wasn't a physician. She was a doctorate in education. And so I think people are losing sight of that a doctor doesn't necessarily have to be a medical physician. A doctor is someone who is looked upon in their field as an expert, okay? And that's what our education trained us to be, an expert in natural healthcare. What else was I going to say about that? So be careful when people are running tests on you. Know what they're doing. Ask what they're doing, why they're doing it. If someone is very vague about something, that's usually not a good sign. I've had a few people come to me with biofeedback intolerance testing lately. There is a business in Sun Prairie that is doing biofeedback something or other. The key to me there is that at their visit, what they're getting based on this biofeedback is they're getting sold a bag of supplements. So again, you're not fixing anything if you're just taking Band-Aids to manage symptoms, okay? And they can say, oh, you're deficient in this, or oh, your body needs that. Well, that's great, but if you take it and you feel better, and then you stop taking it and you feel worse again, did they actually fix anything? They didn't identify what the problem was. They didn't fix it or address it, so you just end up taking more and more stuff to try to put more and more Band-Aids on to control your symptoms. That's symptom management. That's conventional medicine. That's not what I do, okay? I want to get to the root cause. The less products I can sell you, the better, because that means we're making actual changes to your lifestyle, and whether that's dietary or around your house or the products you use, or maybe just taking into account the services of other physical medicine providers like acupuncturists, chiropractors, massage therapists, physical therapists. There are a host of people who also want to help you get your body back on track naturally without drugs and surgery. So there's a lot of options out there. I try to make the best recommendations for people based on what I see. But my toolbox usually consists of the Carroll method of food intolerance, some homeopathic, customized detoxification products to aid in getting your body cleaned out and back on track, because in the absence of junk, your body can heal. It can heal itself. That's what it's designed to do. I mean, when you smash your finger and your fingernail falls off, you don't physically have to consciously think about, hey, I need to do something about regrowing this fingernail. Your body just does it, right? So it can do a lot of amazing things if you give it the right set of circumstances. Now, I have covered food intolerance, why and how it is different than allergy testing, naturopathic medicine, why we use this approach, because it's foundational, because you cannot skip over steps in the healing process. So again, I don't have my diagram, but look it up online. You can look up the order of healing, therapeutic order. There's a new illustration that I think it's the AANMC is the colleges, AANP, American Association of Naturopathic Physicians. It's a pyramid. It looks like the food pyramid, and on the bottom, the very base, the most important things are all the determinants of health, all the stuff we learned in the very first class of our very first semester. These are the things you need to address with people if you truly want them to heal. And one of them is diet. Okay, and the Carroll method is the best, most effective way. It's been used in practice with extremely successful clinical results for over, I want to say 75 years maybe now. Yeah, we're going on the 4th generation here. Dr. Carroll, his people he taught, they've taught people, and now me. So yeah, 4 generations. You can't skip over that and go to a higher level intervention like supplements or drugs and expect true healing and restoration of health to occur. You can't skip steps. It doesn't work that way. It's like putting gas in your car before you put tires on. I mean, okay, great. You got a tank full of gas. You can start the engine, sit there and run it, but you're not going to get anywhere, okay? Above and beyond that, I know I am the only practitioner who does the Carroll method in person in Wisconsin. There is one other practitioner who sends out for it still, so it takes 2 to 3 weeks to get results. I get my patients' results the same day or the next day, at least preliminary results. Then I still send them to the Institute to confirm them, just because they'll do that for me, and why not be extra sure? So whether you've got a skin issue, a hormonal issue, an autoimmune issue, you've been told you have an autoimmune condition you need to live with for the rest of your life, that's not true. We can still work on it, okay? There's things you can do to lessen it, to reverse it, to make it better. Autoimmune just means your body has gone so far down the immune system provocation path that now it's attacking itself. So we just need to teach it to not attack itself and start healing. And I've worked with a lot of people with that. Autoimmune thyroid conditions, yeah, well, they're better now, you know? It just takes the right set of circumstances to set the wheels in motion for healing. What else? So yes, I've talked about taking pills. Yeah, the example I always use is pills, no matter whether they're medicinal, pharmaceutical, or natural, they're just Band-Aids. So my goal is to not just sell people supplements, but to provide you with actual education and tools to make lasting changes for your health. I think that's everything. I'm trying to quick remember. I was meant to give myself enough time to write this list down and check them all off. Once again, I didn't have time. So let's see. What else did I write in my comments? In revisiting, yes, I'm a real doctor. I have explained the Carroll method. It's the only way to understand this. Yeah, so you didn't get the Carroll method done. You didn't find out intolerances if you did this food testing with a chiropractor, an acupuncturist, an integrative medicine doctor, an allergist. They're looking at something totally different, which is immune response, okay? So we're not looking at the immune response, we're looking at the actual compatibility of your body. It is a positive or negative response. There are no levels, which again should give you an indication that this is a level of hypersensitivity in your body that they're looking at. It is the way I address the root cause of all issues because it is the biggest piece of the puzzle. I feel like that's everything. How did I explain this to someone the other day on the phone? Yeah, if you don't heal the gut, you can't fix anything. So that's always the first step. Like Hippocrates said, all disease starts in the gut. So does anybody have any questions? Because I know there's several people watching and I'm not sure if I can scroll this down now that I went up into the comment. It's not going to let me go far enough down to see where it shows me people are joining or talking or asking me anything. So I'm sorry if I don't see your question now. I'll try to get to it when I can see it. I have to figure this out a little bit more. The other thing to remember, especially for skin and for hormones as well, the liver is in charge of making and breaking down hormones, and your skin is the backup organ. It's the largest organ in your body for the liver and for the gut. In fact, your gut and your skin are the same embryological tissue because when you formed as a ball of cells, you were literally a ball, and then you kind of became this long straight line, and then you kind of invaginated at the top and bottom, and you became essentially a tube. So everything that's on the inside is the same as what's on the outside. So when your gut is damaged and overloaded, it backs up to your skin. No amount of topical products is going to fix your skin. I'm sorry, it's not going to, because your skin is a reflection of your inside. And just like it takes time for your nail that you smashed and it turned black to grow back out, you have to heal from the inside out. So you have to heal the inside first. Sometimes that can take 3 to 6 months. Typical. It's what I've worked with patients who have specific skin issues, at least ones that have been around for more than a couple months. And on top of that, at the same time, you need to think about what you're putting on your skin, okay? So you have to put clean products on. If you put products that have carcinogenic chemicals in them, parabens, phthalates, hormone, endocrine hormone disruptor type chemicals, that's just more junk that now you're, instead of your body getting that junk off, you're literally putting it on and your skin's absorbing it and saying, hey, guess what? I know, liver, you asked me to get rid of this other stuff for you, but in the meantime, they slathered me with 10 more pounds of crap. So now here's another load of junk to deal with. And then we wonder why we don't get better. And then when it gets worse, the doctor says, oh, here's some steroids that just dull all of it, numb everything. Why not? Just don't allow the body's response to happen. Well, that's not a good idea. That's like paying a lot of money for an alarm system on your house and then just hitting the ignore button. Why would you do that? So you need to heal the gut. If you have food allergies or sensitivities that have been identified by some kind of allergy testing, you can fix that. you just have to heal the gut. So you do that by identifying your food intolerances, removing that component of inflammation and chronic inflammation that damages the gut and disrupts other organs and systems in your body. And then you do the right things. We got some special products, depending on what's going on, that are used for a period of time to help you heal your gut. There's a bunch of botanical stuff that's great for that. Obviously, we use probiotics, but probiotics don't as much heal the gut as they just help repopulate it with the good bugs, which is also important. But the important thing is I've had people come in that had food allergies, and after we did their food intolerance, removed the intolerant foods and combination food groups and did the gut healing protocol, worked with homeopathic detoxification to help reset and clean out all the organs of digestion and elimination. They retested and those allergies didn't come up anymore, because once stuff isn't getting out to where it's not supposed to be, the immune system doesn't have anything to respond to anymore. There was one other thing. I just had a train of thought with that. Allergies, food allergies and healing. And yes, your body has a specific way of healing. So sometimes the things you want to get better first, like your skin, which everybody sees, are often the last thing to get better. Don't lose hope. That's, it's the way your body heals. We don't have control over that as long as we know we're doing all the right things. It was something along the lines of allergies and intolerances. Yeah, I think I pretty much covered it all. So yes, I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over in a broken record, but clearly people need to hear it more than once, or maybe several times, in many different forms. So again, if you haven't watched the videos, I have those free videos. There's 10 of them. You get one every 3 days by email if you sign up. It's on my website. It's 30 days to reducing inflammation, and it's the general things that I found myself talking about over and over and over again with patients that I felt like, why am I charging everyone for this time when it's the same thing I'm saying over and over again? So when I tell you how to find a good probiotic, how to choose a better fish oil, all these things that help your body build up healthy responses to dealing with acceptable levels of inflammation and cutting out other sources of bad inflammation, that's all in there. Okay. And then this is what I do. When you come into the office to see me, you've done those things, you've gotten some progress and some results, but you still have more to do. Then you come in and we do this here. We do that. And then if you want to do some of the customized homeopathic, detoxification stuff, great. If you want to do some gut healing stuff, great. But that's sort of where I'm going to start with everyone. And that is my niche. That is my specialty, is that this is the thing I do to help everyone, no matter what's going on, get on the right track. Okay. And I'm talking like little kids who have skin issues that haven't even started eating solid food yet. That's the great thing about the food intolerance. As I said, this is the way you're born. There were naturopathic doctors who years ago used to be required to deliver a certain number of babies because midwifery was part of the naturopathic practice. When they did that, some of these practitioners did the Carroll method on newborn infants so that the mothers had that information from the get-go. So A, when it was time to introduce food for the baby, solid food, those babies started off on the right foot. And B, what I have seen personally in practice is that mothers who are nursing often find that when they avoid their baby's intolerance in their diet, the baby shows improvement as well. So some moms say they have to avoid both their intolerance and the baby's intolerance. Other people say it's just the baby's. Other moms say it's just their intolerance. So again, everybody's body is a little different. Your level of susceptibility to your own intolerance, meaning how quickly you're going to have a symptom and what that symptom may be, is going to vary greatly. And I think this has more to do with what's been done to our food than the food itself. Okay, so for example, if I have someone who's comes in and claims they're dairy intolerant, they swear up and down, left and right, that it's dairy. And everybody talks about this. This is why keto and paleo and Whole30 and all these things are so popular, because you're cutting out the most refined foods, the stuff with the most junk in them. So is it really milk? Is it really the dairy? Or is it what's been done to the dairy? I can't tell you how many times I've had someone come in and say, I know it's dairy. Every time I cut out dairy, I feel a little bit better. I don't really think I need the test. And I say, all right, just let me tell you the story. 9 times out of 10, when I test someone who swears they are dairy intolerant, they come back potato intolerant. And that's because so many derivatives of potato have been used in all of our low-fat and skim milk products, because our society is fat obsessed and is scared to consume natural fat. So when you eat anything, and think about this, how many dairy products do you consume that are whole fat? String cheese is skim fat, cottage cheese is low fat, sour cream is low fat. Everything's low fat. Everything that you take fat out of, you have to put something back in as a thickening agent. It's potato, and whether that's in dextrose or ascorbyl palmitate or palmitate A, whatever it is, there's almost always a potato derivative in every single low-fat and skim milk dairy product. So unless all your dairy is whole fat, I don't believe you have a dairy intolerance. I don't believe you're lactose intolerant either. Almost everybody who thinks they're lactose intolerant is actually dairy intolerant. They don't have a lactase deficiency, they have a dairy intolerance. So, or they're potato intolerant. And the doctors just assume that when they cut out dairy and they felt better, that it must be the lactose, and poor lactose gets blamed all the time. But lactose is just a sugar. It has nothing to do with dairy, not really. It's a sugar molecule that just happens to be present in dairy. So that is my rant for today. Just some more information. As I said, things have been coming up more and more recently again regarding food testing, inflammation, food intolerances. How do we get to the root cause of our issue? Are you a real doctor that can actually handle this for me? Can you really see me? Can you do anything about my kids' skin, or they've got a parasitic infection or something? Yes, 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 and yes. 100 times yes. There are always natural options, and we have acute treatments. We also have chronic things that we can address long term. So if you have questions, obviously let me know. Next week, we'll see what strikes the mood then. But like I said, I'm going to be doing at least 3, if not more, public educational talks in the coming weeks about this exact topic. So it just seemed appropriate to do it again and bring everybody up to speed now. So thank you for joining me, and tune in next week for another Wellness Wednesday. Have a good afternoon.